Oh, hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of Randall's Comics. And as you can tell by these glasses that I'm wearing, we're going over Gimmick's covers tonight. So stick around for this next episode of Randall's Comics. And you know. Happy Hump Day, everybody, and welcome to this Wednesday's edition of Randall's Comics. And and if you like this content I'm bringing to you, please smash that like button. Yeah. And as for tonight, we're going to go over a subject, gimmick covers. For me personally, gimmick covers, it started with Ghost Rider issue number 15. I have of course, the glows in the dark. Now, when that came out, bruh, that was the bomb. I was all like, give me more. And of course, when you ask for more, they're going to give you more. Here's just a Wildcats number 2. Great Jim Lee cover, Prism issue. Really great cover. Then we had a plethora of foil and embossed covers that followed. I mean, if they could slap aluminum foil on it, emboss it, they were doing it. Anything to make the cover stand out so that the sales would pick up. Granted, this is the '90s, and you know, the books were hot. So, like I said, and of course, we had the die cut covers. There's a Wolverine issue number 50. That was an example of a die cut cover. Very, like I said, no claws slashing through the cover. Very, like I said, very catchy, 3D. And then, of course, we have the X-Force. X-Force bag with different cards. They had the Cable card, the Deadpool card, the Shatterstar card. I think, I've made episodes where I do have all those cards as well. And then we had a Valiant Exo Man War. This is a chromium cover. And I think they said Exo Man War lives in the chromium cover lives in the dollar bins, where it's going to retire lonely. And of course, we had Spider-Man number 1, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man number 1. With the different cover copies. The regular silver, gold. Someone says there's a platinum out there. Platinum is very rare. Good luck finding that one. And of course, we had X-Men number 1, Jim Lee, like covers. You combined all the covers like Voltron, but that was another of the X-Men covers. And of course, X-Men number 1 sold millions. I think it broke records. Those things are still around to this day. They're not going anywhere. And of course, let's not forget Death of Superman. This was all over the news. People were lining up. People who never collected a comic book in their life were lining up and buying multiple issues of Death of Superman. And I heard someone were going to say, I'm going to put my kids through college with this issue, or buy a new house with this issue. Of course, 30 years later, you're lucky you'll be able to buy a happy meal with it. So anyway, let's get to this exciting. We're going to get to this reprint of Hulk 340. And let's take a look at it with the glasses on and see if we see any difference. All right. Alrighty, welcome back. And of course, we can't do this without, of course, these 3D glasses. So we're gonna see if I can get them to stay on. I doubt if this is gonna work, but like I say, no, it's not gonna work. But yeah, you're gonna have both lenses on there. I don't think this is gonna be wide enough. But let's take a look, shall we? Let's see if we can just see like a little bit with the. I'm trying to give you all a 3D shot of it. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to see. But this is how the book looks on the inside, of course. And of course, if you have 3D glasses on, you can see it a whole lot better. There it is in Cinescope. But anyway, of course, this is, of course, a gimmick. Of course, it's a reprint of Hulk 340. Just reprints that story with a different cover. And of course, like I said, a lot of these books came out, and they do bring, some notoriety to the comic book field. Now, they have variants, 1 of 100. I just bought some books from Bryce Comics, they were limited edition. I watch Comic Toms, and he has limited edition that only released at Comic Cons, or he works with the artist and they just release a certain number cover book for him. And like I say, these variants, these gimmick covers, like I say, really, they are here to stay. They are not going anywhere anytime soon. Um, some people argue against them, saying like they're saturating the market, or like say they're I don't know, they're cheapening. They're definitely not cheapening the market, because like I say, of course these variants, they're going to cost more than your average cover. So what do you think about variants? What do you think about 1 in 100? What do you think about the gimmick covers? Me personally, I don't mind them. It's a distraction. Like I say, hopefully the story on the inside of the book, hopefully that's what matters, and hopefully that's what people notice when they open up the book. The cover is just to catch your eye, to get you to open it up, to get you to buy it, to get you to take it home. And like I said, that original Hulk 340 cover, that pretty much did that. So now, for this issue of let's clean the palette a little bit and pull the curtain back on my selection that I got from Whatnot from G&J Comics this week on this episode of You Know. Alrighty, and welcome back to the corner. And I hope your eyes have readjusted to the regular world that we're living in. And let's just take a look at some of the comics I got off of Whatnot from G&J Comics this week, shall we? Let's start off with The Flash. Oh, he must have a serious corn or a hammer toe right there. Seems to be slow it down, Flash. You're gonna burn yourself up. Anyway, really love that Flash intro. Okay, and next we have some Wolverine, issue number 11, and we have Wolverine, issue number 12. The Gehenna Stone Affair, part 2 of 6. I didn't know Wolverine was a spy. Anyway, and we have Uncanny X-Men, number 149. A nice one. And we have the House of Mystery. I got this for $1. Cover's pretty ragged. Looks like someone took a cheese grater to it. But for $1, like I said, I like these horror covers. And next we have Power Man and Iron Fist. He got that leg up in the air. That's got like it's got saber tooth. Karate kicking. He's Dojo, and next I already have this book in my collection, but like I said, another one won't hurt. That's a Spawn number 9, first appearance of Angela. And of course, I think this has caused some controversy, because I think Todd McFarlane didn't give Neil Gaiman his due credit. And of course, Neil Gaiman, I think, sued McFarlane and got no compensation and rights. And I think Marvel was trying to use this character as Thor's sister. So I think it's still causing some controversy. And next we have Spawn 307. Love me some Spawn. Next we have Spawn. This has the Gunslinger, Spawn issue 312 has a gunslinger Spawn in there. Take a quick look, shall we? The gunslinger Spawn. He's got his rifle and 6 shooters. He is ready to go. I think they're just introducing, I guess they say Spawn, you know, he's lived throughout history, and different iterations of Spawn have like been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And Gunslinger Spawn is one of the older ones. Next thing we have Invincible Iron Man. My chest plate destroyed, my transistors long losing power. I'm done for. Oh no. Will Iron Man and Tony Stark live to see another day? Of course they will. They're in the movies. And we have this issue of Superman #2. Well, yeah, Dawn of DC. See, that's a Campbell cover. Scott Campbell. I want to do an issue about Scott Campbell. And next we have, which is on next, we have Howard the Duck.
What's this? Rock and roll! I give you yeah! Beat me, baby! Get that hot enough for you?
Oh, there we go. That classic Howard the Duck movie from the straight 1990s cheese. And this is a Scotty Young Howard the Duck. Give that quack that came from the hood. And of course, we have another Scotty Young cover. And another Scotty Young cover. That likes to draw, you know, like little Powerpuff Kids covers. And we have some Star Wars. Look at these classic Star Wars covers. Looking like the toy. And we have another Star Wars with Darth Vader. He's in a CPAP machine. And we have some Moon Knight. And we have another Moon Knight, #2. And we have Batman 509, signed by the artist with the COA included. Yeah, nice grabs I was able to find in G&J Comics. Alrighty, and that concludes this episode of Randall's Comics and You Know. And if you like this material that I brought to you tonight, please smash that like and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so it'll let you know when I'm letting out new content, which I'm trying to be consistent and release content on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Kind of make these videos on the weekend and release them on Wednesday. So I'm sticking to my one video per week rule. Anyway, thank you for joining me tonight on this episode of Randall's Comics and You Know. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week and an even better weekend. And like I'm prone to say, peace. And you know what? Don't forget to smother it in a little fish grease. Y'all take care.